My brother cut my brake lines after an argument, said you deserved a scare, then I crashed and broke my back. Now he's crying because the mechanic testified it was sabotage and he's facing attempted murder. I want maximum sentence. 3 months ago my brother and I got into it because he borrowed money from me and refused to pay it back. Nothing huge, just $200 for his car insurance. But when I asked for it back he lost his shit and told me I was being a greedy bitch and that family doesn't keep score. I told him that's rich coming from someone who's never paid back a loan in his life. We screamed at each other in my driveway and he stormed off saying I'd regret being such a heartless cunt. I didn't think much of it. My brother's always been dramatic and we've had worse fights. He's 29, I'm 26, and we've been at each other's throats since we were kids. Our parents always took his side because he's the golden child who can do no wrong. 2 days later I got in my car to drive to work. Everything seemed normal. I backed out of my driveway, drove down my street, and when I got to the stop sign at the end my brakes felt soft. I pressed harder. Nothing. I pumped them. Still nothing. I was rolling toward the intersection and there was a truck coming from the left and I couldn't stop. I yanked the emergency brake and it caught just enough to slow me down, but I still went into the intersection and got T-boned on the passenger side. I woke up in the hospital with a broken back, 3 broken ribs, and a concussion. The doctors said I was lucky to be alive. They said another few inches and the impact would have killed me instantly. I had to have surgery to stabilize my spine and they told me I'd need months of physical therapy and might have chronic pain for the rest of my life. My brother came to visit me in the hospital. He looked nervous as hell. Kept fidgeting and wouldn't look me in the eye. Finally he said, "I'm sorry this happened to you." Not "I'm sorry, just I'm sorry this happened." Like it was some random act of God. I asked him what he meant and he got defensive. Said he didn't mean anything, he was just trying to be supportive. But something felt wrong. The way he was acting, the timing of everything. I told my boyfriend about it and he said I was being paranoid because of the painkillers. But then the insurance company called. They'd had the car towed and inspected and the mechanic found something. The brake lines had been cut. Not worn down, not damaged in the accident. Cut. Clean slices that looked deliberate. The police got involved. They interviewed me and asked if I had any enemies, anyone who'd want to hurt me. I told them about the fight with my brother. About what he'd said. They went to talk to him. He denied everything at first. Said he would never do something like that, I was his sister, how could I accuse him? But then they searched his garage and found bolt cutters with metal shavings that matched my brake lines. They checked his phone and found Google searches from the night after our fight. How to cut brake lines, how to make brakes fail, can you go to jail for cutting someone's brakes? He got arrested. My parents lost their minds. Called me screaming that I was trying to ruin his life, that he made a mistake, that I should drop the charges. I told them their son tried to fucking murder me and they said I was being dramatic. He just wanted to scare you, my mom said. He didn't think you'd actually get hurt. My brother's lawyer tried to get the charges reduced. Claimed it was a prank gone wrong, that my brother never intended for me to get injured. But the prosecutor wasn't having it. They charged him with attempted murder. The mechanic testified at the preliminary hearing. Explained how the cuts were made, how they were positioned to fail gradually so I wouldn't notice until it was too late. Said there was no way it was accidental or a prank. It was designed to cause a crash. My brother broke down crying in court. Started apologizing, saying he was drunk and angry and didn't think about what could happen. Said he loved me and never meant for me to get hurt this bad. The judge denied bail and he's been sitting in county jail for 2 months now. His trial's coming up in January. The prosecutor told me he's looking at 10 to 15 years minimum. My brother's lawyer keeps trying to get me to write a letter asking for leniency but I refused. My parents have been harassing me nonstop, saying I need to forgive him, that he's my brother and family is supposed to stick together. But I'm still in physical therapy. I can't stand for more than 20 minutes without my back screaming. I had to quit my job because I can't sit at a desk all day anymore. I have panic attacks every time I get in a car. I wake up with nightmares about the crash. My brother did this to me over $200. He cut my brake lines and let me drive away knowing I could die. And now that he's facing consequences he wants me to save him. I told the prosecutor I want the maximum sentence. I want him to serve every single day. My parents say I'm being vindictive and cruel, that I'm throwing away our relationship over pride. Some of my extended family is saying I should show mercy because he's clearly sorry and suffering enough already. But he tried to kill me. He watched me nearly die because of what he did and his first instinct was to lie about it. He only feels sorry now that he got caught. My boyfriend says I'm doing the right thing but sometimes I wonder if I'm taking this too far. My brother's life is basically over and I'm the one making sure of that. Am I a butthole? The trial happened last week and I'm still processing everything that came out. My brother took a plea deal. His lawyer convinced him that going to trial with all the evidence against him was suicide. The prosecutor agreed to drop it from attempted murder to aggravated assault and reckless endangerment. He got sentenced to 8 years with possibility of parole after 5. I know that sounds like I should be relieved but I'm furious. 8 years for what he did to me. The prosecutor called me 2 days before the sentencing hearing and told me they were offering the deal. Said it was the best they could do because proving intent to kill versus intent to harm is apparently really hard. I told him that's bullshit. My brother Googled how to cut brake lines. He knew what would happen. But they said juries are unpredictable and there was a chance he could walk if they went to trial. So I had to choose between a guaranteed 8 years or risking him getting acquitted completely. I agreed to the plea but I made sure the prosecutor knew I wanted the maximum within that range. At the sentencing hearing my parents brought half our extended family. They all sat behind my brother wearing matching blue shirts like they were at a fucking baseball game supporting their team. My mom cried the entire time. My dad kept glaring at me from across the courtroom. The judge let people speak before sentencing. My brother's lawyer had lined up character witnesses. Our aunt talked about how my brother volunteers at the animal shelter. His best friend said he's always been there for people. His ex-girlfriend said he's a good person who made one terrible mistake. Then my mom got up. She talked about how my brother has always struggled with anger issues, how our dad used to beat him when he was younger and it messed him up. She said he needs therapy, not prison. She looked right at me while she said it too. Like she was blaming me for sending her damaged son to jail instead of getting him help. I wanted to scream. Yeah, our dad was abusive. To both of us. I lived in the same house. I got hit too. But I didn't try to kill anyone over $200. When it was my turn to speak, I brought my cane. I still need it on bad days, and that morning my back was killing me. I stood up there in front of everyone and told the judge what my life is like now. How I can't work a normal job anymore. How I'm on disability at 26 years old. How I have nightmares about the crash every single night. How I'm terrified to drive and had to sell my car because I have panic attacks every time I get behind the wheel. I told him about the chronic pain, about how some days I can barely get out of bed. About the medical bills that are drowning me even with insurance. About how my brother came to the hospital and lied to my face while I was lying there with a broken back because of him. My brother was crying. His lawyer had his hand on his shoulder. My mom was sobbing so loud the judge had to ask her to step outside. I said I didn't care that he was sorry now. He wasn't sorry when he was cutting my brake lines. He wasn't sorry when he let me drive away. He was only sorry when he got caught. And even then his first instinct was to lie and cover it up. The judge sentenced him to 8 years. No early release before 5. My brother lost it. Started hyperventilating and his lawyer had to calm him down. The bailiff took him away and my whole family just sat there staring at me like I'd personally shoved him in handcuffs. Outside the courtroom my dad cornered me. Told me I was dead to him. That I destroyed our family. That my brother's life is over because I couldn't let it go. I told him my brother destroyed his own life when he tried to murder me and my dad actually laughed. Said I was being dramatic, that my brother was just trying to teach me a lesson about being greedy. A lesson. My broken back was a fucking lesson. My uncle had to pull my dad away before it got worse. My mom wouldn't even look at me. She just walked past like I wasn't there. My boyfriend took me home and I broke down. I know I did the right thing but it doesn't feel good. My entire family has cut me off. My cousins blocked me on everything. My grandmother called and said she's ashamed of me for not showing mercy. But the worst part is my brother's friends have been harassing me online. They found my social media and started commenting on everything, calling me a vindictive bitch, saying I ruined an innocent man's life over an accident. Someone made a whole post about how I'm a liar and the brake lines were probably just old. They're saying I faked my injuries for attention. I had to make all my accounts private and I'm getting messages from random numbers. One person told me I should have died in that crash. Another said they hope someone cuts my brake lines for real next time. I reported it to the police but they said unless someone makes a direct threat there's nothing they can do. My brother's friends aren't technically threatening me, just saying awful things. My boyfriend wants me to move. Says we should leave the state and start over somewhere my family can't find me. But I've lived here my whole life. Why should I have to run? I saw the mechanic at the grocery store yesterday. He recognized me and asked how I was doing. When I told him about the sentence he looked disappointed. Said 8 years wasn't nearly enough for what my brother did. That made me feel a little better at least. Someone else sees how fucked up this is. My physical therapist says I'm making progress but I'll probably never be completely pain-free. There's permanent nerve damage in my lower back. I'm 26 and I'm looking at a lifetime of chronic pain because my brother had a tantrum over $200 he owed me. Sometimes I wonder if I should have just let it go. Not press charges. Let him get away with it to keep the peace. But then I remember waking up in that hospital unable to move and I know I made the right choice. My family keeps saying I'm choosing revenge over blood. But I'm not choosing revenge. I'm choosing consequences. There's a difference. My brother's been making collect calls from prison and my parents have been accepting every single one. I found out because my mom pocket dialed me during one of their conversations and I heard the whole thing. He was crying. Telling them how terrible it is in there, how the other inmates treat him like garbage when they find out what he did. Apparently trying to kill your sister doesn't earn you much respect even among criminals. My mom was sobbing and promising him they'd find a way to appeal the sentence. My dad was telling him to stay strong and that I'd eventually come around and help them get him out early. I hung up and blocked their numbers. I'm done. But that's not even the worst part. 2 weeks ago I got a letter from my brother. It was sent to my boyfriend's address because he doesn't know where I moved after everything. My cousin must have given him the information because she's the only family member who knows and I guess blood really is thicker than common sense. The letter was 6 pages long. Half of it was him apologizing and begging for forgiveness. The other half was him explaining that he only did it because I embarrassed him in front of his friends. Apparently when we fought in my driveway his buddy was there and heard me call him a deadbeat who never pays anyone back. He said I humiliated him and he needed to teach me a lesson about respect. A lesson. That word again. Like cutting my brake lines was some kind of justified punishment for hurting his feelings. He wants me to write to the parole board in 5 years and advocate for his early release. Says if I do that we can rebuild our relationship and move past this as a family. Move past this. Like he borrowed my car without asking and not like he permanently disabled me. I tore the letter up and threw it away. My boyfriend asked if I was okay and I told him I'm never going to be okay. This is my life now. Chronic pain, disability checks, and a family that thinks I'm the villain. The harassment from his friends got worse. They found out where my boyfriend works and started showing up there. His manager had to call the police when one of them came into the store and started yelling at him in front of customers. Calling him a traitor for standing by me, saying he's supporting a liar who destroyed an innocent man's life. My boyfriend came home shaking. He'd never been confronted like that before and it scared him. He asked me again about moving and this time I agreed. We're leaving next month. Found a place 3 states away where nobody knows us and my family can't track us down. I hate that it came to this. I hate that I'm the one who has to uproot my entire life because my brother tried to murder me and his friends think that's somehow defensible. But I can't keep living like this. Can't keep looking over my shoulder every time I leave the house. My physical therapist was upset when I told her I was moving. She said we were making real progress and finding a new therapist in another state would set me back months. But she understood. Even she's noticed how stressed I've been, how the harassment has been affecting my recovery. Last week I got a Facebook friend request from a woman I didn't recognize. Her profile was private but she had one public post. It was a photo of my brother from before everything happened with a caption about how he's a victim of a vindictive sister who can't forgive a simple mistake. She tagged me in it. The post had hundreds of comments. People I've never met calling me every name you can imagine. Saying I belong in prison instead of him. Saying they hope someone finishes what the crash started. One person posted my old address and said I deserved whatever happened to me. I reported it to Facebook and they said it didn't violate community standards. I reported it to the police and they said the same thing they always do. Nothing they can do unless someone makes a direct threat. My boyfriend's parents have been amazing through all of this. They're the only family I have now. His mom actually cried when I told her we were moving. Said she wished she could do more to help. His dad offered to pay for the moving truck and our first month's rent in the new place. I broke down. These people have known me for 2 years and they've shown me more love than my own family ever did. I've been packing up the apartment and finding things that remind me of my old life. Photos from family gatherings where my brother and I are smiling together. Birthday cards from my parents. Christmas ornaments my grandmother made. I've been throwing most of it away. Don't want the reminders. Found a box of cards and letters from when I was in the hospital after the crash. My aunt had written about how she was praying for my recovery. My cousin sent flowers. My parents visited every day at first. They all seemed to care so much until they found out who did it. Then suddenly I was the problem for not protecting him from consequences. My boyfriend caught me crying over the box and just held me. Didn't say anything. Just let me break down. That's what I needed. I got an email from the victim services coordinator yesterday. She wanted to check in and see how I was doing. I told her about the harassment and the move. She sounded horrified. Said she'd never seen a case where the victim got treated like the criminal by their own family. She offered to help me file for a protective order against my brother's friends but I told her we're leaving anyway so it doesn't matter. She also told me my brother's been a model prisoner so far. Attending all his classes, staying out of trouble. Apparently he's taking anger management and doing group therapy. She seemed to think that was positive but all I could think was that he should have done that before he tried to kill me. 5 years from now when he's eligible for parole I know exactly what's going to happen. My parents will beg me to speak on his behalf. They'll tell me he's changed, that he's learned his lesson, that he deserves a second chance. And when I refuse they'll hate me even more than they already do. I don't care anymore. Let them hate me. I'm the one living with the consequences of what he did every single day. He gets 3 meals and a bed and medical care in prison. I get a lifetime of pain and disability and trauma. But somehow I'm the bad guy. We leave in 3 weeks. New city, new start, new names on the lease so my family can't find us. My boyfriend jokes that we're going into witness protection but it doesn't feel like a joke. It feels like I'm running for my life from the people who were supposed to protect me. Sometimes I still wonder if I made the right choice pressing charges. If I'd just let it go none of this would be happening. But then I remember the mechanic's testimony. The way he described how carefully my brother cut those brake lines. How it was designed to fail at speed. How I could have died. And I know I made the only choice I could live with. We've been in the new place for 6 weeks and I thought we were safe. I was wrong. My cousin found us. I don't know how. We didn't tell anyone where we moved, changed our phone numbers, scrubbed our social media. But she showed up at my door last Tuesday with my mom. I opened the door thinking it was a package delivery and there they were. My mom started crying immediately. My cousin pushed past me into the apartment before I could stop her. My boyfriend was at work so I was alone. My mom grabbed my hands and started begging. Saying she missed me, that the family was falling apart without me, that my brother was suffering in prison. I pulled away and told her to leave. She didn't move. Just kept crying and saying I had to forgive him, that holding on to anger was destroying me. I told her holding on to anger was the only thing keeping me sane. That her son tried to kill me and she chose him over me and I'd never forgive any of them for that. My cousin started yelling. Called me selfish and vindictive. Said my brother made one mistake and I was punishing him for the rest of his life. I reminded her that one mistake left me disabled and she actually laughed. Said I was being dramatic, that plenty of people have back pain and still work normal jobs. I grabbed my cane from where it was leaning against the wall and held it up. Asked her if that looked dramatic. Asked if my disability checks looked dramatic. She went quiet. My mom tried a different approach. Said my brother's cellmate attacked him last month and he was in the prison hospital for a week. Broken ribs and a concussion. She showed me photos on her phone. My brother's face all swollen and bruised. She said this is what happens because of me, that I put him in a place where he's not safe. I felt nothing looking at those photos. Just empty. I told her that's what happens when you commit crimes, and she started sobbing harder. They stayed for 2 hours. Wouldn't leave no matter how many times I asked. My cousin went through my apartment looking at everything. Picked up a photo of me and my boyfriend and said it was nice I found someone who didn't care that I destroyed my own family. My mom sat on my couch crying and praying out loud. Actually praying. Asking God to soften my heart. When my boyfriend came home, they were still there. He took one look at the situation and told them they had 5 minutes to leave or he was calling the police. My cousin called him a few choice names. My mom begged him to convince me to help my brother. He opened the door and stood there until they finally left. I had a panic attack after they were gone. Full-blown hyperventilating on the bathroom floor. My boyfriend found me there an hour later. He wanted to call the cops, but I told him not to. What would I even say? My family showed up and cried at me? But it gets worse. 2 days later I got a call from an unknown number. I answered because I thought it might be about a job interview I had. It was my brother. Calling from prison. He'd somehow gotten my new number. Probably from my cousin. He was crying. Begging me to listen. Said he was sorry, that he thinks about what he did every day, that prison is hell and he's not going to survive 8 years in there. I asked him if he thought about me every day when I was learning to walk again. When I was taking 12 pills a day for pain. When I was losing my job because I couldn't sit at a desk anymore. He went quiet. Then he said something that made my blood run cold. He said if I didn't help him get out early he'd make sure I regretted it. That he had friends on the outside who owed him favors. That I might have moved but I wasn't invisible. I hung up and blocked the number. Told my boyfriend what he said. We filed a report with the police but they said it wasn't specific enough to be considered a real threat. Just more empty words they can't do anything about. I haven't slept properly since. Keep thinking about what friends he might have, what favors they might owe, what they might do. My boyfriend installed extra locks on the doors and a security camera by the front entrance. We're both jumpy now. Every unexpected sound makes us freeze. I finally found a new pain management doctor here. She's good, but starting over with someone new has been brutal. Having to explain everything again. Prove that I'm actually in pain and not just seeking drugs. Go through all the tests and imaging again. The medical system treats chronic pain patients like criminals and I'm exhausted. Got rejected from 3 jobs in the past month. They all say they want someone who can handle the physical demands of the position. Which is code for they don't want to deal with someone who needs accommodations. My degree is useless now. Can't do the work I trained for because it requires too much standing or sitting or moving in ways my back won't allow anymore. My boyfriend's been supporting us financially and I hate it. Hate being dependent. Hate that my brother took away my ability to support myself. The disability payments barely cover my medical expenses. I had a bad pain day last week and ended up in the ER. They treated me like I was faking it. Kept asking if I was sure I needed to be there, if I'd tried heating pads and ibuprofen. I wanted to scream. Instead I just cried while they eventually gave me something for the pain and sent me home. Found out through a mutual friend that my family is telling people I'm mentally unstable. That I made up the story about my brother cutting my brake lines because I was jealous of him. They're actually trying to rewrite history now that he's in prison. Making me out to be the crazy one who falsely accused him. The mutual friend asked me point blank if it really happened the way I said. I showed her the court documents. The mechanic's testimony. The evidence photos. She apologized and said she believed me, but I could tell she was uncomfortable. Like even with proof in front of her it was easier to believe I was lying than to accept my brother tried to murder me. I'm starting to understand why victims don't come forward. Why people stay quiet. Because even when you have evidence, even when you do everything right, people still find ways to make you the villain. My boyfriend asked me yesterday if I regretted pressing charges. I told him no, but I'm not sure that's true anymore. Not because my brother doesn't deserve prison. He does. But because I didn't realize the cost. Didn't realize I'd lose everyone. Didn't realize I'd spend the rest of my life looking over my shoulder. The parole hearing is in 4.5 years. My family will be there. They'll bring character witnesses and sob stories. They'll paint my brother as a reformed man who made one mistake. And I'll have to sit there and relive the worst day of my life in front of a room full of people who think I should just get over it. I don't know if I'm strong enough for that. My brother killed himself in prison 3 months ago. My parents blame me. The warden called me on a Thursday morning. Said my brother had been found unresponsive in his cell. They tried to revive him but he'd been gone too long. He'd saved up his medications for weeks and took them all at once. Left a note saying he couldn't do 7 more years, that prison was killing him anyway so he was just speeding up the process. I didn't cry when I got the call. I felt numb. Still do most days. My parents didn't tell me about the funeral until after it happened. Found out through a Facebook post my cousin made with photos of the service. My whole family was there. People I haven't spoken to in 2 years all gathered to mourn my brother and not one of them thought to let me know. My mom posted on Facebook that she'd lost her son twice. Once to prison because of a vindictive sister and once to death because that same sister wouldn't forgive him. She tagged me in it. Hundreds of people commenting how sorry they were for her loss and how terrible I am. How I have blood on my hands now. I reported the post and Facebook did nothing. Said it didn't violate their policies. So I deactivated my account. Deleted everything. I'm done trying to defend myself to people who've already decided I'm a monster. The harassment started up again after he died. Worse than before. People found my boyfriend's work address and sent letters calling me a murderer. Someone spray-painted killer on the building of our apartment complex. Management made us pay for the cleanup. My brother's best friend showed up at my physical therapy appointment. I don't know how he found out where I go. He stood in the parking lot screaming at me while I tried to get to my car. Called me every name you can imagine. Said I killed my brother as sure as if I'd handed him the pills myself. Security had to escort him off the property. We moved again. 4th time in 2 years. New city, new state, new everything. My boyfriend's parents helped us pack in the middle of the night like we were fleeing a crime scene. Maybe we were. I got a letter from my mom last month. First contact she's made directly since the funeral. She said she hoped I was happy now that I got what I wanted. That my brother was dead and I was free from ever having to face him again. She said she'd prayed every night for God to change my heart and now she realizes I don't have one to change. She said she has no daughter anymore. That as far as she's concerned I died the day my brother did. She said she hopes one day I understand the pain of losing a child and maybe then I'll realize what I did to her. I burned the letter. Watched it curl up and turn to ash in the sink. My boyfriend asked if I was okay and I told him the truth. I don't know. I don't know if I'm okay. I don't know if I ever will be. Some days I feel guilty. Wonder if I pushed too hard for the maximum sentence. If I'd agreed to the therapy instead of prison option his lawyer mentioned early on, would he still be alive? Then I remember waking up in that hospital unable to move and the guilt disappears. He tried to kill me. He cut my brake lines and watched me drive away. That's not something therapy fixes. But he's dead now and I'm still here and somehow that makes me the bad guy. I'm 28 years old. I live with chronic pain that will never go away. I can't work a normal job. I've lost my entire family. I've moved 4 times trying to escape harassment from people who think my brother was the victim in all this. And now he's dead and they're never going to let me forget that I'm the reason why. My new pain management doctor is helping me taper off some of the medications. Says I was over-medicated before and it was making things worse. She's right. My head feels clearer now even though the pain hasn't changed much. At least I can think straight. Started therapy finally. Real therapy with someone who specializes in trauma. She's the first person besides my boyfriend who doesn't make me feel crazy for still being angry. Who doesn't tell me I need to forgive and move on. She says I'm allowed to be angry. That what happened to me was attempted murder and I have every right to protect myself even if that protection meant my brother going to prison. She also said something that's been stuck in my head for weeks. She said my brother made his choices and I made mine and his death is the result of his choices, not mine. That I didn't hand him those pills. I didn't put him in that cell. He did that himself when he cut my brake lines. I'm trying to believe her but it's hard. My boyfriend proposed last month. We were having dinner in our new apartment and he just asked. No fancy setup, no dramatic speech. Just will you marry me? Like it was the simplest question in the world. I said yes. Because he stood by me through everything. Because he moved 4 times and changed his whole life to keep me safe. Because when everyone else abandoned me he stayed. We're getting married next spring. Small ceremony, just his family and a few friends. No one from my side. There's no one left to invite. I think about my brother sometimes. Wonder what he was thinking in those last moments. If he regretted what he did to me or if he only regretted getting caught. Wonder if he thought about me at all or if he was just thinking about escape. I'll never know. And maybe that's the hardest part. No closure. No final conversation. Just a phone call from a warden and a Facebook post about a funeral I wasn't welcome at. I'm learning to live with it. Learning to live with all of it. The pain, the loss, the guilt, the anger. Some days are worse than others. Some days I can't get out of bed. But I'm still here. Still alive. And maybe that's enough. My brother tried to kill me and failed. Then he killed himself. And somehow I'm still the villain in everyone else's story. But I'm done caring what they think. I'm done defending myself. I'm done trying to make people understand. I know what happened. I know who I am. And I know I'm not responsible for my brother's death any more than I was responsible for his choice to cut my brake lines in the first place. He made his choices. I made mine. And we both have to live with the consequences. Except he doesn't have to anymore. He's gone. And I'm still here.